Hmm. Well, there we go. Sorry, tech difficulty. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's me, Eric. To my gamer friends, it's Devin Donder, and to an increasingly large number of people, it is Gumball Head. So, welcome, everyone. Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming in tonight. So tonight we're going to kind of go off of last week. So tonight, trying a different camera setup. I got Gumball Head high. I got me low. Check that out. What do you guys think of that? I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm pretty excited. It's one of those things that pretty happy about. So it's the Gumball Head on a larger scale. It's pretty exciting. So hi. Hi. It's early. Never ever am I early. So lucky for you. Tonight I'm a lot more laid back. I'm a lot more relaxed. A little bit less wound up like I was last week, because last week I was hyperstimulated. And this week I am not so hyperstimulated. I'm back in the home today. Wow, what a crazy week last week. It was just insane. Just so many things going on, and training new people, and staying away from the home, and staying in a hotel, and eating amazing food, but missing my friends and family back home. It was just an amazing week. So yeah, I can't go into too many details, but what I can say is I had a great week, and there are some things abound that are possibly great. Wow, I've never seen so many people in here at one time. This is great. Hello, everybody. Fantastic. So I'm starting to figure things out so we can actually interact. I think you guys can put statements in here, and you guys can talk back and forth. If anybody ever wants to come live with me and chat with me, I would encourage that. We got a good thumbs up on the volume here. We good? How about up here? We got a thumbs up. Can I get one thumbs up? Josh, can you hear me okay? I've got a new microphone, so just trying to figure things out here. Anyway, let's just get to it. So responding from last week, who were we before the world got to us? And thank you. Who were we before the world got to us? And it was kind of a conversation last week about all of the things that have changed in our lives. Plenty of thumbs up. Excellent. All of the things that have changed in our lives to make us who we really are. And this topic here, a perfect world. We know that a perfect world is non-existent, right? We know that it's very difficult to create a perfect environment in which we live. And there's no secret to that. It's true, it's proven, we know that. But we do the best of what we can with what we have in our lives, right? So we do our best in order to make the best of the situations that we have. So let me pull up the notes here. That was a good deep sigh. That was an expulsion of stress and anxiety that has plagued me throughout the day. And it just felt really good to do that sigh. And I got to do that with you guys here. That's awesome. So, all right. So here we go. Ready. Surround yourself with people who help you be successful. That was a topic that I talked about with my district manager this week. He had said to me, I surround myself with successful people, and that's what's made me successful. And it kind of really hit home with me, because it's like, fucking A's, right? You know, I mean, all the people that in my past that have brought me down, i.e. drinking buddies and party friends, they never really contributed to my successes. They never really contributed to anything that I was good for. Now, don't get me wrong. I was surrounded by EMS people and stuff like that, and they were really good for me. But in reality, we do have a subset of friends that is very difficult to maintain satisfactory living or lifestyle around, and that's difficult for some people to understand that. We don't want to get rid of friends, and we don't want to cast our friends to the side, but we also don't want to be lonely in our lives. So, but surrounding yourself with people that can help you with your success will make you successful in the long run. And when I do these videos, I try to be as motivational as I possibly can. Now, I lack in that on occasion, and sometimes I say stupid stuff, but that's just kind of part of me being me, and there's no way around it. So you just have to deal with it, because that's the way life is sometimes. But not only is this an opportunity for us to be successful, but it's an opportunity to reciprocate our success. So if we're successful in something, I'm going to move this camera down. I don't think anybody's watching on the Gumball Head page right now, which is not normal. Trying to fix this. Sorry, guys. So if we work on those successes in our life, and we work with those people that make us successful, and we reciprocate the assistance to those people, we make those people successful in turn, right? Bad idea. I got to work in the morning. I got to leave here at 4 a.m. to make the long road trip. So here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I drove by Western Stadium Monday night on my way to a Recovery Dharma meeting. Recovery Dharma Kalamazoo. It's a Buddhist meditation program. It's a great program. I encourage people to look it up, at least check out the book. But it's a Buddhist recovery program, and I love it. But I was driving by, and there was a band outside practicing. It might have been Sunday. I think it was it Sunday? I had to have been Sunday because Western played Sunday. So I drove by, and the band was out front. Now, the meetings are at 1 o'clock on Sundays, and it's like I drove by at 1 o'clock, and I saw it was like 12:45 or something like that. And the band was out there practicing, and I don't think that the game started until like 4, maybe even later. But the band was there hours before the football team showed up. Now, let's think about this. Is the marching band of a college going to bring in revenue for the school? Maybe a little, but as much revenue as the football team? Probably not. Probably not. In a perfect world, everybody would bring in an amount of money that would be equivalent all the way across the board, right? So football team would bring in money that's good for the football team and the band and stuff like that. So bands get a bad rap. Marching bands are great, especially if they compete and they're good. But the marching band was there hours before the football team was there. Now, if we think about it, what is the spectacle of the day? We're going to watch the football team play. Win or lose, we're there for the excitement, right? So are we there to see the marching band? Well, music nerds like me, yeah, I like the marching band. I like the halftime show. I like that stuff. And it's pleasant to the people that are there spectating. But for the most part, that's an opportunity for them to go grab another hot dog, grab a soft drink, go to the bathroom, maybe another beer or whatever. But they're not there to see the marching band. Let's face it. They're there to see the football team. And they're there to tailgate, which is another thing. Tailgating before the show. They're showing the support for the team, and as the team, sees people gathering and getting ready for the game as they're walking to the stadium or taking the bus or taking their Uber or whatever to the stadium to get ready for the game, they see all these people that are there in support of them. Okay? Now think about this. In order to make this football team or this football game be a big event, what else needs to happen? Well, there's plenty of volunteers. There's fire, there's EMS, there's police officers directing traffic, there's paid people, there's vendors there, stadium workers. There's a lot of people there that are there because of the football team. And then you throw in the fans, okay? And the fans are there to support that team. So let's put this into the addiction category, okay? If we look at addiction, if we don't have addicts, if we don't have that team, a surrounding team, not just the core team, the people that you sit in the AA rooms with or the NA rooms or any of that, not those people that you're sitting with, but the outside people, okay? The fans are family, the vendors are sponsors, the people, the fire EMS, I hate to throw them into the addiction category, but they're just as supportive of people in recovery as they are of people that commit crimes, because they're there for the community, period, okay? I'm not saying that they're there just to arrest people, because police do a lot of community work. Fire does a lot of community work. Freemasons do a lot of community work. So the truth behind it is there are a lot of things that go hand in hand in making that football game happen. You run out of hot dogs at a football game, there's going to be a problem. So chances are they won't, but, hot dogs and popcorn, that goes hand in hand with football in a stadium. Hot cocoa, coffee as the seasons change, and we're getting into the year or the time of year where pumpkin spice everything is happening. So You got to be mindful of that. You know, what happens if Starbucks runs out of pumpkin spice? Oh, soccer moms rejoice. Society will go to hell in a handbasket. They run out of pumpkin spice latte, right? So the idea is to ensure that we encourage people. Now, I'm going to say something. I'm going to tell a story real quick about an experience that I had last week. The first thing that I'm going to say about the story is the end result was probably not the right thing to do. I'm not saying that I was a bad Buddhist. What I am saying is I feel as if it were possibly justified. I could be wrong, but I try to live on the square every single day. I try to do my best to communicate, conversate, and do the things that I can to make the world around me a better place. So here we go. Ready? I walked into a Walgreens. It was Wednesday night. I had decided to go for a drive before a meeting. I went for a drive. I drove right past my hotel, and I went into a Walgreens. I went inside of this Walgreens, and I was picking up a soft drink, and I was picking up some popcorn for my relaxing night in the hotel. And my decision was to watch a movie that night, and then order in some food so that I could just chillax and enjoy myself. Well, as I'm walking up to the counter, I hear this man using slanderous words and referring to this particular cashier as derogatory terms. I'll just say with that. And he was angry because this woman would not give him a pack of cigarettes because he would not produce his ID. Okay. Now, first, let me say this. I was on Notre Dame's campus. Okay. I was maybe a mile outside of campus, but still, it was a Notre Dame campus. And this place is pretty well policed, and they've got their own zip code, and they've got their own people. And, you know, the lady explained to the guy, hey, it's the law. It's not me being a jerk. It's the law. I have to card everybody. And the guy said straight up, I not look old enough to you? Well, it doesn't matter. Because I look old, right? I mean, I look old enough to have tattoos, to buy tobacco or alcohol or whatever I decide to buy, but the law's the law. That's all there is to it, right? So if that's what they want, that's what they need to get. So this guy was going on, and then he started saying some extremely derogatory terms. Basically, the C's and T's of don't say them to women. Let's refer to English punk, quite regularly used in the English language, but not English America, but English in England. But anyways, I'm sure everybody can get the drift here. Anyways, finally I said, hey, stop, hey, just, what kind of cigarettes do you want? And he's like, stay out of it. And I said, no, I'm not going to stay out of this. What kind of cigarettes do you want? He's like, mind your own business. And I said, this is my business. I'm waiting in line here. I'm trying to get, my night going. And you're upset about a pack of cigarettes. I can see that you're upset. And I was just as kind as I'm being right now. So this is not embellishment or anything, I promise. And I said, I will buy them for you. I will pay the price and pay for those cigarettes. And I will take care of them. And the guy was just kind of being a jerk. And finally, he kind of gave in. Now, the guy was probably down on his luck. I can't judge. I don't know who he was. Didn't know what he was up to. But I do know that he was having a rough day. And all he wanted was a pack of cigarettes. As a tobacco user, as a vapor, I know what it's like when I don't get my fix. But we all know what it's like when you're just wanting, your tobacco and you can't get it, or your coffee and it takes forever in line to drive through a Big-B. But this guy was being an angry jerk. He had gotten everything else but his cigarettes. And I said, but here's the thing. If you go outside, you can't come back in. You go outside, I'll buy the cigarettes for you, but you can't come back into the store. Actually, the manager had said that. And he's like, okay. So I looked over. I said to the lady, you got to tell him he can't come back in. The lady at the next cash register over was like, yep, you can go outside. He's like, well, she's not going to sell them to you now because, you already said that. I was like, you didn't have an ID, but I do, and I'll show it to her happily. Cashier, go outside. Don't come back in. We'll get you squared away. So finally the guy agrees, and he goes outside. I forgot the most important part of the story. One of the things that he did say to the lady was, don't make me take my leg off and beat your ass with it. He had a fake leg. That's an important part of the story, okay? Just because it was funny to me, but sad at the same time. Because because I don't know the guy's story. But anyways, I walk up to the cashier after the fellow leaves, and she had the cigarettes on the counter, and I looked at her name tag, and I said, "Good evening, Karen. How are you tonight?" And she's like, "Oh, my shift just started. What a terrible way to start a shift." And I said, I disagree. It's great. It's great to get that BS out of the way at the beginning of your shift so you don't have to worry about it. You know, everything that happens for the remainder of the night, you can compare it to how you started your night. It can only get better, right? Look, take the positive from the negative in life. She's like, "Well, I guess that's a good way to look at it." So she rings me up and puts everything in the bag, and she gets ready to ring up the cigarettes. I say, "Stop. Don't ring those up. Put it back on the shelf." She's like, "What?" I said, "Put them back on the shelf." And she's like, "Okay, you told him you would buy them." And I straight up said, "Fuck that guy." You know, screw him. He wasn't being kind to you, and I'm not going to help him out. So that's the part where I wasn't really a very good Buddhist. I told him I would do something. I didn't lie, but I also didn't tell him 100% of the truth. I obfuscated, and I feel bad about it, but here's full disclosure here. I guarantee a majority of you would say or do the same thing, because that was a total dick move on his part, referring to the lady that way. She's there to help us, okay? She's there to help us out. And just because she's standing across the counter from us, just because she's an older lady, just because she's a female, doesn't mean that we can treat them any differently, okay? When I've gotten in trouble in the past, I've always been courteous to the people that have enforced things, and I've always been kind. And, you know, whenever I've gotten in trouble at work, I've always apologized, you know? Kindness goes a lot farther than being a dick, period. So in a perfect world, that whole situation wouldn't have happened, and I would have walked out with a pack of cigarettes and handed them to the guy, and he would have went about his day. But guess what? He didn't get his cigarettes. Sorry. Don't know what to tell you. You can't go back in the store. They're going to call the cops. That's what it boiled down to. So, long story short, we need to be nice to each other, period. And if we ever want to create that perfect world, we have to work to make it happen. So that's halfway through my sheet here. And here's something that I have. I've been called a brand whore on multiple occasions. I love Under Armour. I love Nike and Adidas. I love, premium products. When I can afford them, that's what I get. If I can't afford them, I get what I need. But all my socks are Under Armour. That's my plug for Under Armour. I'm a brand whore. And here's my plug for underwear. Duluth Trading Company Armachillos are the shit in the summertime in Michigan. I'm just going to say that. But designing your own brand, I mean, Gumball Head, I'm not, this isn't ego. This is just something really cool. I found a shower curtain. I was like, let's throw the logo on it. I have this as a tattoo. I have this as not necessarily a business endeavor, but a communication outlet and a very good outlet for me, talking to people and broadcasting. I really enjoy doing this because I get a lot of things off my chest, and it spawns thought and it spawns articulation of truth inside your mind. And when I get done with this, I sit around and I wait for a little while, and then I meditate on what I just talked about. And a lot of things come up in the future after I think about what I talked about, but it always spawns good conversation. Anybody that knows me in real life knows that my brain is constantly going, and I don't slow down until it's sleep time. And when I wake up, as soon as I wake up, it's go, go, go. If I wake up. So design your brand, work it. And that brand can come with recovery too. I have an easy out when people say, hey, let's go get a drink. I'll go with you and I'm going to drive. I'll go with you and I'll take you wherever you need to go. Or I'll go with you, but I'm not going to drink. And when people ask me why I'm not going to have a drink, I always say this: because I don't drink. A lot of people get uncomfortable with things, and I always hate the follow-up question, or do you have a problem with alcohol, or are you an alcoholic? Yeah, I am. That's why I don't drink. Makes sense, right? So it's not that hard. Just tell them no. I'll go out with you, no problems. Depending on the strength of your recovery, of course. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to give you bad advice, anybody bad advice. What I am trying to say, though, is if you're comfortable in your sobriety and people want to go out for a drink, offer to drive them around. A lot of places will give free, bowls of popcorn or soft drinks to people that are designated drivers on a party night, or when you go out for dinner. Nothing wrong with getting a glass of water. You can use things like, I have to work tomorrow, I don't do well with alcohol, I'm allergic to alcohol. There's ways around it without compromising your comfort level. You don't have to be, you don't have to be a dick about it, but you can get around it. And if you want to make sure that your life is still social, you can do so without consuming alcohol. If it's going to be a compromise to your sobriety, don't do it. Okay, it's just don't do it. So a perfect world, I like to think about this. The other night there was a movie on with Jim Carrey called The Truman Show. And I watched it for a little while, and I'm just thinking to myself, what a crock of shit. This guy lives in a perfect world where everything is perfect around him. And then I find out it's a TV program. Spoiler alert. Find out this TV program that people are watching as this guy grows up and progresses through life, and then he's like, I'm finding the door and I'm getting the fuck out of here. Wow. What a deep concept for a television program or a movie. I start thinking about things with the Jim Carrey movies, and I'm like, Liar, Liar. The movie Liar, Liar, where he's a lawyer and he can't lie, and he says in court, I can't lie. I say that all the time. I can't lie. But wow. His movies, he's very strategic in the roles that he takes. Bruce Almighty, where he plays God. Wow. And I'm not a huge Jim Carrey fan. I will say that I've indulged in the Ace Ventura movies more times than I care to count, but that's humor. It's good humor. And now he's getting into darker and deeper roles, and it's just kind of like, you're not funny anymore. And it's sad. But if we think about anybody that's seen the movie, the Truman Show, think about the monotony and the mundane of the repetitive perfectness of everyday life. And it's like, wow. I think about this all the time, and it's like, if there's not chaos in my life, I'm not happy. But then again, I also have a difficult time determining what does make me happy overall. Okay, not saying that I have to be doing something that's going to get me in trouble, or I have to be doing this and that and the other thing. But what I am saying is if there's not a little shakeup, there's not a whole lot going on. I don't watch TV typically. It's very unlikely that I'm watching TV. If the TV's on, it's because I'm playing video games. But I don't watch TV because I don't like the stuff that's on there. It's redundant. It's repetitive. If I do watch TV, I'll watch American Pickers or, mundane TV shows or documentaries. But I'm always trying to stimulate my mind. I'd rather read, or I'd rather play Candy Crush than watch something on TV, And that's just me. I just don't do it, And if anybody offers me the control for the television, I just say to them, just whatever you want to watch, I'll watch it. I don't care because I don't know what's on anymore. But how boring would life be if there were no problems, if there was no crime, if there was no violence, if there was no disagreements or negative actions in life, or positive actions, if everything was positive 100% of the time, wouldn't life be boring? If I were wealthy, I'd get really bored really quick. I like going to work. I like working hard because I feel as if I'm making a difference in my life, and I feel as if I'm making a difference in our customers' lives, and I feel like I'm making a difference in my company's life. That's why I like to go to work. I don't always get there on time, but when I do, damn it, I have a good time there. But then I think about things, and I'm down to this, where I spend time at work. It's taking time away from me. It's taking time away from my family, especially when I'm gone. I didn't get to see my daughter's first day at school, but she's 16. She didn't care anyways. It's not like she was going to let me take pictures in the first place. And I feel bad that she didn't get to drive to school on her first day with her driver's license and blah, blah, blah. But truth behind it is it's just a car. You'll get through it. You'll get a car eventually, but we all have to work for the things that we want. And my stipulation right now is grades. But she'll get there, and there's a lot to be proven. So we don't get anything handed to us anymore. You could, I'm sure you could. But we spend time at work, and when we work a lot, and we work a ton, we take away time from ourselves, and we take time away from our family, take away time from our commitments. Excuse me. I moved with my mom all weekend, and it was multiple trips, and it was, there was a lot of heartbreak, and it was sad to see her have to move, and it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. My mom is happy now, and she's safe, and she's comfortable, and she's got a great new place, and I'm very proud of her. And I'm proud of my stepdad, and I hope that everything works out for the best for them. So if we look at this, though, if we were in a situation where we had to uproot family, uproot everything that we have going for us, to move, to relocate for a job, how much stress does that create for somebody? I mean, mind you, if promotions promote themselves to people, if promotions make themselves available to people, decent ones, good ones, how difficult might it be to have to go through all of that and changing things and, selling your home? I say this with obviousness, but I'm also being, I'm not saying that there's a promotion there. What I am saying is, I think about that. I think about those things where people get like this really great opportunity for a job, and they move across country, and they go to California, and they pack up their house, and they move, and they sell their house, and they relocate, and then they go there, and then all of a sudden you're there for 3 years and you lose your job. What the fuck? You're going out there because people know that you're going to make a difference, and you go there and things don't work out. Now you're stuck in California with the people around you. You end up working at Costco or at Trader Joe's selling sandwiches, and you were a CEO of a company. I can compare this to my life in Fort Wayne. I took a promotion to move down there. I left the house. My son was getting ready to be born. I had things that I needed to take care of financially and with the family, and uprooted everything, and we moved away. And then after 2 years, things fell out from under me, and I lost my job. So now what? Well, you go back home. And that's what I did, is I came back home, and I was living up here. And at the time, my wife and my son were living down in Indiana. It was an hour and 45-minute commute. I got to see them on the weekends. It was tough being away, but did what I had to do, How many times do families do that, though? Or they move to another state or another part of the world, and then all of a sudden their marriage falls apart, or their child gets sick, okay? Michigan's a great place to have children because of the hospitals here. They're amazing. These are all things that don't really have anything to do with a perfect world, I guess, so to speak. But truth be told, that in a perfect world, these things wouldn't be concerns. But we think about these things in reality. These are things that actually happen to us. Speaking of a perfect world, I'm gonna I got two more thoughts real quick. First one is, the brain is constant process, constant thoughts, constant processes, constant processing of information. Constantly working on the next thing. That's how my brain works. What's the next biggest thing? What's the next thing? What's the next step? Where do I go now? What do I do now? I met this goal. Now how do I move on? What do I got to do with my life in order to get to that goal? That's how my brain works all the time. I'm never going to slow down, I don't think. It's just that's one of those things that happens to me in my life, and it's just how it is. So how do we slow that down? Coloring in a coloring book. How do you stop a thought process? Take out your ink pen and color in the lines on a piece of lined paper. Meditate. Listen to a song that you love. Put your headphones in and tune the fuck out for a minute. When things start getting ramped up, chill out. Relax. Sit back. Chill out. Maintain a moment of silence for yourself and just reset yourself. We get so worked up at our jobs, and we get so worked up in our families, and we get so argumentative and defensive in things. I say we, but I'm saying me. And how do I curb that? Try to be positive all the time. It's tough to do that, but you can make it work. And you can have your time to sit alone in silence and cry. And you can have your opportunity to sit down and write in your journal about how much you hated your day and how much you hated the people that you worked with because they pissed you off and they broke your heart. Do that. That's the only way that we can stay sane. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have that problem. And here is one more thing, and this is coming from personal experience. Making people wait creates resentments. There are two schools of people helping other people. There's the selfish people when they help people with the anticipation of receiving something out of the deal. And then there's those honorable people that actually do it with honor, and they do it because they want to help out and not expect anything in return. That has a lot to do with those making people wait. Now, when I say that making people wait creates resentments, I'm going to give this example. My mom was anticipating me to be there at a certain time. I took a shower. I took my time getting to her house to help her move. And something came up and I was another hour late, and I apologized to her tooth and nail, but she was still kind of a little pissed off about it. And it wasn't my intention to upset her. It just kind of happened that way. Sometimes you can't avoid it. And I apologized, and it was a heartfelt apology, but shit happens. So, fuck you, Tool. And that's what brought me to this part here, making us wait 13 years for a new album. Anybody that's listened to the new album, it's pretty decent. It's not a masterpiece like everybody else is saying, but it's a good album. There's a lot of filler in it, and there's a couple of really good songs on it, but waited 13 years for the frickin' Tool album, and I've probably listened to the whole thing about 60 times, not gonna lie. But but that was the whole making people wait creates resentments, you know? It's like, then you look at the price of the Tool tickets right now in Detroit. I think someone told me they were $185 for a ticket. $185 for a ticket to see a band that hasn't been around in 13 years. I hope they're like, wow, I hope they freaking pass out free CDs or t-shirts at the door for $185. I mean, they're not Pink Floyd. Don't get me wrong. Tool's a pretty good band, but for fuck's sake, what a ridiculous amount. You can't even go buy their CD for less than $30. You know, I'm not mad about it because I got Spotify streaming and you can hear it on YouTube or whatever, but the truth behind it, up until recently, Tool didn't even stream albums. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have even had to wait. They'd have been like, here's our next album. 10,000 days. They almost made us wait that long since their last album. I'm a Tool fan, but I'm still pissed off because I missed the concert in 2000 because of the World Trade Center. And there was a lot of anger that day. I missed Tool, and people died. And it was just a bad day. And I don't like revisiting that. But anyways, so Maynard James Keenan, you gave me resentments against your band because you made me wait. So I'm going to stick around for another, it's 10 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to stick around for 15 minutes or so. Please honor that. I mean, 15 minutes, I cut myself off at 15 minutes, 20 minutes. 20 is the longest I'll go. It gives me a 10-minute meditation before I go to sleep. I have to leave my home at 4:30 tomorrow morning. Broadcasting that to the world. Sorry, guys, I have to be an hour and a half away at 6 a.m., so I got to do what I got to do. That's life. But I wanted to make sure that I broadcasted today. I wanted to show off the new banner. It's a shower curtain, but it's a banner. I got the one green gumball right there. It's green. It looks black in this video, but it's green, I promise. So yeah, stay strong, stay focused, stay sober. I love you all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you around.